Reporter Lester Kiewit is following that story. He's live for us in Cape Town. Lester, good afternoon to you. And essentially, opposition parties today, if I'm reading this correctly, are saying enough is enough. All of this has got to be put to bed.
That's right, but there does seem to be quite a bit of consensus amongst members of Parliament's Home Affairs Committee that there should be a parliamentary inquiry into the citizenship status of the Gupta family. This not only includes the three main Gupta brothers, that's Ajay, Atul and Rajesh, but the entire 62 members of the Gupta family who happen to call South Africa home. Now, if you can remember, not too long ago, Parliament's Home Affairs Committee saying that they were satisfied with the explanation by Home Affairs Minister Malusi Gigaba, but that was the day when Malusi Gigaba had to have two press conferences in 24 hours to clarify issues surrounding the Guptas, and then later more revelations coming out that in fact that Atul Gupta is a South African citizen, Rajesh Gupta is a South African citizen, but according to the Minister of Home Affairs, Ajay Gupta is not a South African citizen, naturalized after living in South Africa for some time. So there still seems to be plenty of confusion regarding the status of the Gupta family, particularly now that the Indian government has now also come forward to say that the Guptas are definitely not Indian citizens.
So, Lester, is this just a vague suggestion at this point which is starting to gather a degree of momentum, or is there more flesh on this? Do we have any sense of how this might proceed?
I think this committee is quite serious about this inquiry. It has asked its table staff, it has asked Parliament's legal services to help them set up a terms of reference for this question regarding the Guptas. So I'm sure we're going to see somewhat of a similar proceedings that we've seen in the Public Enterprises Committee looking into the situation at Eskom and the Gupta involvement there. So at this time there seems to be plenty of work done around Parliament and its committees looking into the involvement of the Gupta families and the phenomena of state capture, and particularly with regard to the Home Affairs Committee, just essentially when the Gupta family were naturalized as South African citizens and what impact that had on the Gupta family benefiting from any BEE legislation or having to been awarded any tenders in state-owned enterprises.
So, Lester, I'm a little confused now, given that the Gupta family themselves and the members that you outlined would be key role players or stakeholders in the state capture inquiry. There is a danger, surely, of so many different committees and the inquiry itself almost clashing heads and getting their wires crossed. Surely there's got to be a degree here at some point of conformity, making sure that they're all working in one similar direction.
That's a very important comment to make, Jeremy, especially now that the Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo's Judicial Commission of Inquiry into state capture is just about to get underway. But you do understand that that these committees are somewhat coordinated. They are coordinated by the chair of chairpersons, Cedric Frolic, here in Parliament. And not too long ago, last year, before these various committees had been set up, he had given permission to parliamentary committees to look into this issue of state capture. Earlier, I did speak to the chairperson of the Public Enterprises Committee's inquiry, Zikiswa Rantu. She says that that Parliament will, as it's having its duty of oversight, will continue with its work, and if asked, they will then hand over any documents, any evidence, and any reports to that Zondo Commission of Inquiry. Just on the Public Enterprises Committee, they've released a statement this morning saying that they'll be releasing or handing over their report to Parliament as early as June. So plenty of work that has already been done and plenty of work still to be done to get to the bottom of the Gupta involvement in state capture after this new announcement by the Home Affairs Committee that it wants a definitive answer just on the status of the Gupta family, particularly the Gupta brothers, and just how they managed to obtain their South African citizenship citizenship and whether there was any undue political influence in them receiving their naturalization as South African citizens.
And inevitably, the Home Affairs Minister, Malusi Gigaba, would come under a degree of pressure in that respect, given the conflicting answers that he's given in the first place.
That's right. Even though Malusi Gigaba has said on record now that the Atul Gupta, he received his naturalization in 2002, Malusi Gigaba stressing that happened under the tenure of Mangosuthu Buthelezi as Home Affairs Minister. Rajesh Gupta, he obtaining his citizenship, South African citizenship, in 2006. Again, the current Home Affairs Minister saying that happened under the tenure of Nosiviwe Mapisa Nkakula. But at the same time, particularly members of the ANC caucus in this Home Affairs Committee say they want Malusi Gigaba and his Director General to come back to them to give more answers, saying that currently at the moment there's conflicting statements coming from the DG Apleni as well as Minister Malusi Gigaba.
Okay, Lester Kiewit, you can't blink these days without another commission of inquiry or a committee hearing being announced, but we'll leave it there for the moment. Lester Kiewit in Parliament, thank you very much indeed.